Fuentes, Stone, and Bonds in the last of the 8th inning of this 2-1 ball game going against Ferguson Jenkins. So, well, it's a strike on the outside corner. Our little unit here, our producer today is Dick Auerbach, our director is Ted Nathanson, and yours truly. It's 4th consecutive year that we'll go to England for one of the most traditional and best-loved events of all time, the All England Tennis Championships at Wimbledon, England. What a pleasure it is. 2 strikes quickly to Fuentes from Ferguson Jenkins. Nobody working in the Cubs bullpen now, but the Giants bullpen is quite busy.
That front foot of Fuentes, he gets up on that toe at times. He doesn't stride at all, which is something relatively new for Tito. A lot of hitters, when they get to overstriding or getting the weight on the front foot too far, will try to hit that way. His left foot pointed directly at the umpire catcher. Looks so uncomfortable, like you could never swing in that position.
Well, Back, I tell you, we had a shot. Oh, he was up before. I think it was from our third base camera. And with that very close stance he's got, when you look at him head on from third base, it looks as though Tito, something's wrong with him. He does it. There he looks natural. Now here he looks pretty natural too. But when you get out in front of him, looking in from third base, it looks very odd. I think you saw that. Foul again.
He also cocks that left elbow very high while he's in his batting stance, but as the pitch comes on the way, he kind of lowers it. Sweatbands on the wrist.
Here you are from third base. Look, see, it's like Tito can't hold himself up too well. But he lines a single to center field. Travel him all the way. And now he's going down to second base, and it's in. The ball actually slowed up on the artificial turf, and that's those, I think it's a soft spot you were talking about, Tony.
Rick Mundy playing him toward left center field, Jim. The ball just barely getting by Popovich. There's the swing again by Fuentes. And now you'll see where doubles are made. Not from first to second, but from home plate to first base. He never hesitated for 1 second. He just took off from home plate, and that's where your doubles are made.
I automatically called it a single, but it slowed up, and Mundy coming over from left center field, not in time to get the speedy Fuentes. And there's a big difference between a 2-1 ball game and a 3-1 ball game, and here is Fuentes. And remember, as Stone comes up, back in the 3rd inning, he very successfully bunted. Fine bunt right down the first base line. And they'd love to move him over to third base and give Bonds a chance just to get the ball out of the infield and make it a 3-1 ball game.
Jenkins, an exceptional fielder on the mound. Santo and Fanzo will be charging. Popovich will go over to cover first base. Kessinger holding the runner Fuentes as close as he can. They would like to get him at third base if possible. Hundley will be directing the play from behind home plate. Another responsibility of that catcher.
There's nobody in the shortstop's position there. They're counting on him to bunt, and he does, and bunts it foul. They just figure that Steve is up there, Tony, as you've been saying, to bunt the man down. Kessinger's all the way by second base, and Santo on the line at third base, and he's got the whole left side of the infield open. Imagine if he gets 2 strikes, they might change that. Kessinger actually behind the runner now at second.
Let's watch Randy. He'll be the one calling the play. If Jenkins fields it, he'll tell him where to go.
Missed the bunt. It's strike 2.
The catcher, the only one on the field who has everything in front of him, generally regarded as that team leader.
Kessinger yelled something at Jenkins. Jenkins yelled back. Don is not behind the runner now. He's cheating a little bit toward the hole. Now moves in again. But they're figuring that Steve is up there to do one thing. He is not a good hitting pitcher, but demonstrated he can bunt. Fanzone's way in. This is not called a strike. It's down in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fanzone is charging way in.
Actually, Fanzone and Ferguson Jenkins will try and cover some of the territory that Ron Santo normally would, because Santo is going to try and hold at third base as long as possible until he absolutely has to field the ball.
That's a strikeout. This time, Stone does not move the man over, and Jenkins has strikeout number 4. Giants 2, Cubs 1. We're in the last of the 8th inning, and the Giants won another one. Here comes Bobby Bonds. Was grounded to third, hit a 2-run home run, his 9th of the year in the 3rd inning. And they're the only runs that the Giants have, and struck out swinging in the 6th inning. His 47th strikeout of the year. If you tuned in a little bit late, something that could be even more disastrous to the San Francisco Giants along the stretch is Dave Kingman injured his right hand, and that's being x-rayed this afternoon at the hospital. Play at third base. Bonds, a big free swinger. Low ball one. The Giant bullpen continues busy.
Phil, on your left, Jerry Johnson. That's Don McMahon, their short relief man and bullpen coach on the right.
One. Mississippi was beaten by Texas 9-8. And they were down 6-0, and Texas got 9 runs in 1 inning. Loser goes home. So Mississippi and Jake Gibbs return to Oxford, Mississippi. There's that big swing of Bonds. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Fergie coming quite a bit more from the side now to the right-handed hitting Bobby Bonds. Not holding Fuentes on too close either at second base, and he's got good speed. Could steal a base. Kessinger playing over in the hole for Bonds.
Just missed outside, 2-2. Few oohs and ahs from the crowd on that one.
Fergie thought he made the perfect pitch. Came from the side, tried to hit that outside corner low, and thought he had it.
Strikeout number 5, and the second time in a row that Bonds has gone down swinging. Well, with Fuentes, who legged a double, still at second base, Jenkins has struck out the 2 men that he's faced since that double, and here's Chris Spire, who is 1 for 3. Last time up, he got a hit in the hole at short. Kessinger just couldn't throw him out. Before that, he had struck out and fly to center. Drive, Kessinger's there this time, throws on to first base. It's up the line, but Fanzone tags the runner, Spire.
I want to personally thank the brothers and sisters of Local 134 who continue to put Chicagoland's needs above their own by providing essential services to the people of Cook County and keeping hospitals, airports, and other critical facilities running smoothly. Every one of you are a vital part of Chicagoland's battle to end COVID-19's outbreak. COVID-19 has presented unique challenges, but you continue to step up. IBW Local 134's highest priority during these unprecedented and uncertain times remains ensuring the health and safety of our members. That is why I am continually in contact with our NECA contractors, general contractors, and city, county, and state officials to ensure the safest possible work environments are being provided, from increased hand washing stations to maintaining proper social distancing. This global pandemic has hit home in a very real way. Brothers and sisters, let's stay together, let's stay strong, let's stay 134 strong.
And now we will show you what happened at the end. Here is Kessinger racing over for Spire's ground ball, throws on, but his throw is up the line, and Fanzone has to come up the line toward home plate. He grabs it, and as Spire goes by, there's Spire. He tags him right there for the 3rd out. Now in the 9th inning, with the Cubs trailing the Giants 2-1, Fanzone, Mundy, and Cardinal. Between these 3 men, they have 16 home runs. Here's Fanzone, who has singled. He is 1 for 3. They only need 1 to tie it. Giants have had a very poor home record, losing 26 of 32. That's ball 1, and they've lost their last 6 in a row. Love to have Steve Stone turn it around for them this afternoon. Ball 2. On the other hand, the Cubs are in the thick of the race. They started the day 5 games out in the National League East, and the Mets won this afternoon, so if the Cubs drop it, they are 6 games out. McCovey and Gallagher guarding the lines. There's a strike. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. Gallagher just a yard away from the line of third base. McCovey about 10 feet away from the first base line. Well, 3-1. Stone, who has walked 2, is in danger of putting the tying run on at base. Pete Reeser, the third base coach, flashing the signals. The common fan zone. It's up and in. High ball for tying run with none out. Goes down to first base. Here comes Rick Mundy. Maddox made a great play on him. Charlie Fox is coming out. Then Mundy walked in the 4th inning and grounded the 2nd in the 6th inning. This may be all. Fox is coming out. Born in New York, now lives down in Phoenix, where the #1 farm club for the Giants is located. And now, racing out is Bill North, an outfielder, and he is going to run for Fanzone, I am sure. North, very speedy, takes over at first place. Stone is going to stay in. They've got 2 of them warming in the bullpen now for the San Francisco Giants. Stone would love to have the complete game. Now, Monday, as we said, very good power hitter. 5 home runs, 18 RBIs. And on deck behind him is Jose Cardinal, who has scored the only run of the game for the Cubs. North at first base is very fast. And so Stone, who picked Mundy off back in the 4th inning, checks over there. North in the Texas League last year led that league in stealing bases with 47. So he's got a lot of speed. Again, they play Mundy to hit more toward left center than to right center. Drive to right center field. Maddox goes back. Bonds goes back. Looks up. It's gone, and it is 3-2. Chicago. Monday's 6th home run of the year, is 19th and 20th RBIs. And the Cubs boosters from Wrigley Field, Chicago, are thrilled. There is Charlie Fox, who walked out, talked to Steve Stone, and decided after his conversation with him, I'll leave him in. 1 pitch to Rick Mundy, and the Giants are down 3-2. Well, we told you all of those home runs that Fanzone, Mundy, and Cardinal had between them. Mundy connected for the 1, and the Cubs are in front. Here's Cardinal taking a strike. They had Mundy pulled around to left center. Couldn't have caught it anyway in right center. There's strike 2, but that ball was pulled to right center field. Cleared the fence about 390 feet away. The Giants must feel as though they are snake bitten before their own crowd. 1-2. In the 9th inning, Henderson, McCovey, and Rader will be the Giant batters. Oh, we're not through yet. Big swing by Cardinal, who strikes out. 7 strikeouts for Stone. And we'll bring up Juan Santo, who's 1 for 3. Santo fouled out in the 2nd, singled in the 5th, sending Cardinal to 3rd, and he later scored on the fielder's choice. And then Ron grounded out in the 7th. The 2 Giant runs on a 3rd inning home run by Bobby Bonds. The tying and go-ahead run for the Cubs here in the 9th inning on a 2-run homer by Rick Mundy. Two balls, no strikes to Santo. Kneeling on deck is Randy Hundley. There's Randy, 1 for 3 on the day. Foul out of play. Well, this is the way you stay in a pennant race. You're down 5 games on June the 10th. And you look up and they can see the scoreboard here. That the Mets won their game. They were in danger of dropping to 6, and the Cubs went to work and did something about it. Panzone drawing the walk in the home run by Monday. 2-2. Well, you haven't heard from Tony Kubek lately because he's been on the way downtown expecting this game to end in the last half of the 9th inning. Tony, did you see the home run, or were you en route? Well, Tony can't hear me yet, apparently. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Santos. Steve Stone has pitched quite a ball game. He has struck out 7, walked 3. One of them came home to score as the tying run, and allowed the 3 earned runs. There's a long drive left field. Henderson back, and that is long gone. Home run number 6 for Santos. A lot of power in that Chicago Cubs lineup. The first 3 men that they sent up in this inning, Panzone had 4, Mundy 5, Cardinal 6 home runs, Santo had 5. Charlie Fox is out again as the Cubs have seen themselves come from behind, and we're going to get another pitcher. Fox doesn't want this to get out of hand. Stone has worked a total of 8 1/3 innings. He has now given up 4 runs on 7 hits. He struck out 7, and he walked 3, and is through for the day as Jim Barr comes in. So there's a break in the action at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. With 1 out on the top of the 9th, the Cubs now lead the Giants by the score of 4-2. Randy Hundley, the batter. Ferguson Jenkins, hopefully for him, about to pitch his 11th consecutive complete game, now finds himself, instead of trailing 2-1, out in front 4-2 in the 9th. Right, Hundley doubled in the 3rd, struck out swinging in the 5th, and looked at the 3rd, call strike in the 7th.
Tony, can you hear me? Tell the stage manager if you can.
Base hit. Hit number 8 off the Giants staff. As we told you, some of the Giants told us that when they call on that bullpen down there, they don't know what's going to happen. Here's Reeser with 1 out, whispering something to Jenkins. Jenkins has tried to one-on-one occasion, was unsuccessful. Last time up in the 8th inning, he fooled Bobby Bonds out in right field and drove him to the wall to haul in his long fly. He is 0 for 3.
Way to go, Rick!
Picked up by Barr, throws on over Fuentes, who jumps up in the air and comes down with it, and the sacrifice bunt works. Down to second goes Hundley.
Come on, Don!
At second, Barr, we're talking about how young the Giants ball club is. 8 rookies, 6 second-year men, 24 years old, just joined the Giants last season. He's the player representative. Here's Kessinger, 1 for 4. Ground ball that went off the mid of Steve Stone back in the 8th inning and on out into center field. Giants have scored 3 times here in the 9th. All scored on home runs. Well, Monday drove Panzone, the pinch runner for him, north ahead of him on a home run, and Santo added a home run. There's a strike. Remember our Monday night game, 8 o'clock this Monday night. It'll be Detroit and Baltimore in hot pursuit at Minnesota. Ground ball, and it's off the leg and the plate. Off the leg of Kessinger and also off the plate, and John Kibber just points down, says it's a foul, and so trotting back to second is Hundley. 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Cubs. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Giants. Giants last year, as we said, won 50 ball games at home. They're in danger now of losing their 27th already this year against 6 victories at home. Talk about the home cooking people get. The Giants have not been getting it. Another tough, high bounding grounder. In comes Spire, throws on to first base and got it. A 3-run score on 3 base hits, 2 of them home runs. There were no errors, and 1 man was left. We go to the last of the 9th, and suddenly it is the Cubs who lead the Giants by the score 4-2. The Giants have 1 more chance.
I'm Greg. I'm 68 years old. I do motivational speaking in addition to the substitute teaching. I honestly feel that that's my calling, to give back to younger people. I think most adults will start realizing that they don't recall things as quickly as they used to, or they don't remember things as vividly as they once did. I've been taking Prevagen for about 3 years now. People say to me periodically, man, you got a memory like an elephant. It's really, really helped me tremendously.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
You're watching the Marquee Mystery Game. Let's get back to the action.
Well, we go to the last of the 9th inning. Ken Henderson, Willie McCovey, and Dave Rader. Now, remember, Fanzone was run for in the top of the 9th inning by Billy North, and so Jim Hickman has gone out to play first base. Hickman at first base now for the Cubs as we go to the last of the 9th. There's Jim. Famous for his clutch hitting of the last 2 years, his good hitting in the last 2 years, and also being from Tennessee. Ernie Banks used to sing Tennessee Waltz every time he walked into the dressing room. 4-2 the score. Henderson is 0 for 3. And Tony Kubek is now in communication.
Right yard, Jim.
This is foul. It is certainly far enough, but it is foul. And in the upper deck.
You know, Jim, this ball game that Stone pitched today is almost a rerun of a ball game that we saw here several weeks ago against Atlanta when he got beat by Earl Williams with a 3-run home run. Breezing along, appeared to get stronger, and all of a sudden he made the one bad pitch.
On deck, 2 balls, 1 strike. What Henderson wants to do is get on deck and let this fella right here swing away, because he's got all the power in the world. Willie McCovey. Ground ball foul. It is still 2-2. The wind is continuing to blow toward left, but I believe Tony pointed out a little while ago, with those extra seats here, that makes it 3-2. They're enclosed all the way around. There's the wind. Those flagpoles are well below the level of the upper deck, as you'll see as we pull back to show you, but nevertheless, there is some wind, but it's not like it used to be. Here's Kessinger chasing it in the wind and has the pop fly of Ken Henderson. Now Willie McCovey walked in the 2nd, drew a walk in the 4th, or I should say grounded out in the 2nd, drew a walk in the 4th, and fly to right in the 6th. Cubs 4, 3 of those in the top of this, the 9th inning. Giants 2, 1 out in the last of the 9th. Ground ball, and on the shift over there is Popovich to throw on and get McCovey. We are 1 out away. Al McCarthy's been our production stage manager, and our statistics have been handled by Alan Roth. Pleasure to work with Alan in person this week instead of talking to him by telephone. Get all the little goodies. Here's Rader, 1 for 3 in the last hope. Jenkins looking for his 11th complete game in a row. Typically, Fergie is only allowed 1 walk. And you'll recall that was to McCovey in the 4th inning after he had him on a foul pop-up that was blown back into play, but Hundley didn't get there, and Fanzone never made a move for it. I gave McCovey an extra chance, and he drew the only walk. There is a strike. It is 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out, 4-2 Chicago. Giants in danger of losing their 7th in a row. Their 27th in 33 games at home. Missed outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Cubs started out on this road trip 7 games ago. They're 5-2. If they should win this one, not a bad road trip at all to win 5 out of 7 away. Remember, they started so poorly, losing 9 of their first 11. That is Gallagher, who is on deck, hoping to get up. Well, tying run coming to the plate, Tony, with 2 out.
Same old story. We're going to have a pinch hitter now. Left-hander Goodson coming up to hit now against Ferguson Jenkins.
Jenkins, as we said, as DeRocher's going to come out and say a word or two to Ferguson. Probably about Ed Goodson is going to come up. The old story is, Leo, as we said, will be 66 on July 27th. We're talking about Jenkins walking only 1 man. That was after McCovey given a second chance, and he turns around and walks Dave Reeder. Goodson is another one of those very young players that the Giants have. He is hitting .302, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's a first baseman. And Goodson is a former college player himself, as so many of the others are. We've been talking about the NCAA championships. Here's a youngster just making his first appearance this year. He went to Tennessee, East Tennessee State, played varsity baseball. And about 4 years ago, Ed was a shortstop, All-America on the 2nd team. Now he's a first baseman. He must have been a huge shortstop. He's a big man, drives center field. Monday says he's got it. This should be the ball game, and is. Hits the first pitch. Oh, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left as the ball game is over. And it means that Ferguson Jenkins is now 7-5. It means that he has now pitched 11 complete games in a row. It means the Giants have now lost 7 in a row. It means that the Cubs are 5-2 on the current road trip and remain 5 games behind the New York Mets, who defeated Houston this afternoon. And it means that, believe it or not, the Giants have now lost 27 out of 33 games at home after last year having second only to the Pittsburgh Pirates when they won 50 games at home.
Thanks for reliving this Marquee Mystery Game on Marquee Sports Network.
Hey there, gang. It's Friday, and welcome to another edition of Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. I'm Cole Wright back again, and on today's episode, J.A. Adande. He's going to stop by to let us know what it was like covering Michael Jordan and what it was like when he stepped away to go play Major League Baseball. Plus, he'll touch on the impact that the COVID-19 shutdown has had on the MLB. We can't talk about any of that until we meet our panelists. They're all present and accounted for. It's Bruce Levine, it's Sean Marshall, it's Tony Andracki, and guys, we're headed right towards that first real weekend of the summer. What goes better than Memorial Day and an ice-cold Miller Lite than a Miller Lite refreshing take of the day? And the Major League Baseball owners are reportedly finalizing their economic proposal to the Players Association, and they're doing so today. Now, with Major League Baseball shut down for more than 2 months, the two sides are still negotiating the terms of the return to play proposal. Now, it is possible that the entire season could be played without fans, and one projection estimates that it could cost major league teams $640,000 per game with an empty stadium. Now, the Cubs, they receive about 70% of the revenue from fans in attendance. And I'm going to get to this right off the top, because when it comes to baseball getting back to normalcy, my question to you is that Major League Baseball should allow teams at their own discretion to have fans in the stands. Sean, what do you think? Fans or no?
I mean, I think everyone would love to see fans, the players in particular. The owners, of course, get a little revenue stream coming back to kind of cut some of those losses. But it's a lot of uncertainty. You know, with fans comes a lot of preparation by the ballpark employees to sanitize the stadium, where to put these people. Are they going to want concessions? Are we ordering these concessions from our seats? There's a lot of different things going on here. Yes, I think as a ball player myself, I want these players to have fans, create the energy, create the fun environment that Wrigley Field in particular can bring to these players. But, there's a lot of uncertainty still. The testing, we'll see how it goes, but I see some preliminary talks. Mostly particularly the Miami Dolphins are coming through, trying to get a plan in place. But, it's about keeping the separation. We want to stop this virus. We want to do anything that we can do to spread it even more or cause more damage to anybody. So safety first, that's number one concern. So hopefully we'll err on the side of safety when it comes to getting fans back in our stadiums.
Yeah, I agree, Sean. I mean, I think it would be good for everybody. Players want fans there cheering, even if it's only 10,000 or 1,000 would obviously be preferable to an empty, quiet stadium. But I don't know how exactly they would work on the entrances and, like you mentioned, concessions, and how is everybody going to walk through the building just to get to their seats, even if they're able to be spaced apart 2, 3, 4 seats, however it is. And even with wearing masks and so on, I'm not quite sure how the logistics of it all would work, but I think MLB should do everything they can to try to empower their teams to make this a reality.
Well, there's a number of questions you have to answer first. And first, you follow the science and medicine and the spacing that you're going to need for the players in the stands when they're not playing, when they are playing. They won't be in a dugout. They'll be spaced out in the stands. So that's a logistics nightmare with fans in the park. And the risk, the number one risk other than the health issue, which is obviously number 1, 2, and 3, is alienating fans. So who do you allow into the ballpark? Your season ticket holders have 4 tickets, but they have to sit 3 or 4 seats apart. How do you accomplish that? And more importantly, how many fans will be interested in going, especially initially, without having the science to back up what is going to occur? So there's a lot of moving parts to this. I'm in agreement with everybody. We want fans in the ballpark when it's comfortable, when it's safe, when it makes sense logistically.
All right, let's take Wrigley Field out of the equation, Sean, because what about Wrigleyville, the surrounding neighborhood? We know that each and every single game day, it's a hive of activity. So what do you think? What precautions need to be taken in order to get fans at least in the vicinity of the ballpark?
Well, we know our Cubs fans, and we have the most diehard fans, and they're going to be chomping at the bit to get as close to that stadium as physically possible. That means an extra flow of patrons to our restaurants, our bars. So these owners of these restaurants and bars are going to also have to take into consideration the high sanitation needed, the social distancing needed to keep these sport-hungry fans, especially our Chicago fans, from exacerbating the problem. But in the grand scheme of things, if everybody's doing their part, and the fans are smart, especially outside the stadium, we can bring some great energy. Whether the fans are in the stadium or not, we'll bring some great energy to Wrigleyville.
If fans are going to be in the stands, players might be as well. So then is there extra security that you would have to keep the fans away from the players? And then what happens if it becomes a risk, or if there's some sort of second wave that comes with the virus? Does that mean then that you pull back and you allow fewer fans in, or you have to limit fans entirely after having done so for the first 20, 30 games, whatever it is? That would be another really huge kick to the gut. So it's a very, very difficult, sensitive subject. I'm not sure how they're going to let it all play out. I mean, I think first and foremost, we got to get baseball back first and then figure out what to do with the fans. But any possible way you can get even 1,000 people in the stadium, I would be all for it.
Yeah, Tony, good point. You don't want to put the cart before the horse, because we know the season, it could be coming sooner rather than later, and hopefully it is sooner. Now, still more to get to right here on Cubs 360, like what could have been. What kind of effect would Michael Jordan have had on Major League Baseball? Jay Adande, he's going to stop by to lend his thoughts. That's next, right here. You're watching Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite.
Many restaurants and bars are closed, leaving millions without work. America's taps are off, but the tips are needed more than ever. Miller Lite is helping with a virtual tip jar that supports the Bartender Emergency Assistance Program via the USBG National Charity Foundation. Now, they started off with $1 million donation and are asking those who can to join them at virtualtips.org, and they'll continue to support the effort as we continue to face this unprecedented time.
Catch all the weekly show highlights each weekend with Best of Cubs 360 Daily.
I used to go out to batting practice just so I could chat with Ernie. If I was having a bad day, I knew he would pick up my spirits.
I faced him a lot, so they know what I have. Tommy Hotovy, he knows me personally, so I think it's going to be a good thing.
Hindsight's always 20/20. You know, sometimes your emotions get the best of you.
Best of Cubs 360 Daily, Saturday at 5. Proudly presented by Miller Lite.
When you're home, there's nothing like enjoying a classic with a classic. Miller Lite. Great taste and only 96 calories.
Introducing. Oh, and right after that, we had to stop production on my first ad as owner of Mint Mobile because, So instead of an epic ad, I created an epic slide. Mint Mobile is premium wireless for just $15 a month. Crazy, right? See, slides can be compelling. Ooh, thank you, slide. Oh, the Mint Fox.
If only there was a place nearby you could get one of these. Or these. Good thing they're sold literally everywhere business is done. I'm pretty sure you could buy them at a bank. Not sorry, Reese's.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
Hey, it's our pleasure here on Cubs 360 to welcome in a gentleman and a scholar. He's the director of sports journalism over at Northwestern University. It's the one and only J.A. Adande. J.A., thanks so much for taking time out and joining Bruce and I here on Cubs 360.
It's great to make my debut on the Marquee Network.
I'm glad to have you. And, you've been well-traveled over your career. This we know. You started out right out of Northwestern at the Sun-Times. You made the jump to the Washington Post, the L.A. Times, and ESPN. And with that said, you were prominently featured in The Last Dance, of course, a documentary about the 1998 Bulls. And you covered that team in 93 and 94. So as you reflect, what was it like coming straight out of journalism school and being able to cover the biggest show on earth?
Yeah, a year out of school covering the NBA Finals, and it's Jordan and Barkley and the personalities, and that's what I remember, and the greatness, the standard of greatness that to me has been unmatched since then. And I've been fortunate to go on to cover 19 more NBA Finals after that one. And the 2013 one between the Spurs and the Heat was particularly memorable. 7-game series, of course, the great Ray Allen shot. And to me, it was reminiscent of the 93 Finals. And I just kept thinking that one was better because it had Michael Jordan. And sometimes it's that simple. The Bulls were better in the 90s than everyone else because they had Michael Jordan. That was the difference. He was the difference.
Jay, what was it like? The Bulls, they just won their third championship, and Mike steps away to go play baseball. I mean, how shocking was that from a journalistic perspective?
It was. And even as a news consumer, I tell people that's still the most shocked I've ever been by a newspaper headline, because I was watching that Sox game on mute when he throws out the first pitch, and then they keep showing him in the owner's box. And I'm thinking, why are they showing Michael Jordan? He threw out the first pitch. We get it. Michael Jordan's at the game. And then I turned off the TV early. I didn't watch SportsCenter or anything. And the next day I wake up and I open my door, and there's the newspaper, say it ain't so, Mike, Jordan to announce retirement today. What? Even back then, it was hard to go that long without getting news to you in some way. But it got to me in the morning paper that day. So it was shocking. It was a shock to the entire league. And it was surreal. One of the first assignments I had when I went to the Washington Post was to go down and cover Michael Jordan with the Birmingham Barons. And just to be in a minor league baseball stadium in Hoover, Alabama, outside of Birmingham, and see Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever, in the outfield for the Birmingham Barons AA, was just surreal.
We were all tuned in to The Last Dance each and every single Sunday, J.A., like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And that really gets us to today because we've been shut down for nearly 2 months, a little bit over 2 months, actually. So when you look at society today with no live sports, how have things changed, at least from your perspective?
We've seen the value of sports and more the economic value of sports for our industry to start with, not having anything to cover. But if you just think about all the people that work at the stadiums, the restaurants and bars that surround the stadiums, Wrigleyville in particular, as much, if not more than any other stadium locale in the country. The microeconomy is so driven by those 81 Cubs home games. So, we're seeing, I really feel like it's been a reminder of the economic importance of sports, even more so than the entertainment value of sports.
Jay, when you look at the baseball scene and you see that coming from the 1950s where African Americans started to come into the sport, eventually dominate the sport when they were in there, and to the level now where we have somewhere around 7% African American participation in Major League Baseball. Where do you think that is going? And is there a solution to getting some of these great young athletes to like the game of baseball and play it?
Well, to tie back to The Last Dance, that was an underplayed aspect of it. The fact that Michael Jordan's first love was baseball. The all-time greatest basketball player's first love was the sport of baseball. And he told the story at Kobe Bryant's memorial service when Kobe was asking Michael what he was thinking of, what moves he was working on when he was 11 or 12, around the same age as Kobe's daughter. And Michael said, I don't know, I was playing baseball back then. And I thought that was really telling. And that's the question baseball has to ask itself, is how can it become cool or interesting or a viable option for people in the African American community? And, if they could tap into that. And one of the reasons maybe that started on this path is the negative reception that Michael Jordan got, most notably that Sports Illustrated cover, Bag at Michael, in which he was ridiculed for playing baseball, in which it was almost as if he was bringing dishonor on the sport. I don't see what's so bad about having the most famous athlete in the world saying, I want to play your sport. But there was a backlash to that. And you wonder what impact that had. So rather than being celebrated for playing baseball, here's Michael Jordan being ridiculed for playing baseball. And you wonder if there might have been young black kids that might have been considering the sport and, were discouraged by seeing that.
Jay, when you look at some of the African-American stars in Major League Baseball, your Jason Haywards, your Mookie Betts, your Andrew McCutchens, how can Major League Baseball better market some of these guys so young African-American kids want to maybe go out there and play the game of baseball as opposed to basketball or football these days?
Well, part of it is the culture. And, the baseball culture is to say it's not about the team, no showmanship, don't flip your bat, don't stare at a home run after you hit it. And it goes against the prevailing culture. And also, I think it dates back to a time when African Americans weren't a part of baseball. So you're saying these are the unwritten rules of baseball. Well, guess what? They're written at a time when black people weren't allowed to play the sport. And is that the tradition that you really want to carry on?
Jay, before we get you out of here, we know it's a changing landscape in all professional sports, but when it comes to you in the classroom teaching at Northwestern, how have things changed for you?
Well, it's all virtual right now, so I just miss the individual interaction with our students. I miss being able to take them to a baseball game and have them do a report on the field after the game. But it's challenging, and we're learning a lot as we're teaching. We're learning how to do this. I've never taught virtually before, so we're learning how to present the best possible educational experience for our students online while we can.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to get those students out to a baseball game, to training camp sooner rather than later. And in the meantime, J.A., we appreciate the time and keep doing what you do. Thanks so much for taking time out to join Bruce and I today on Cubs 360.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you again.
Well, bringing you some sad news today because we need to pay tribute to Basketball Hall of Famer Jerry Sloan, who passed at 78 years old due to complications from Parkinson's disease. Sloan played for the Bulls for 10 years and later became an assistant for the squad and then, of course, the head coach for 3 seasons. Sloan also leading the Jazz to back-to-back NBA Finals appearances, falling both times to Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Jerry Sloan, rest in peace. Now, still to come right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Mark Pryor hasn't played in a major league game in close to 14 years. So what kind of lessons have teams learned from his career? We're going to dive in next right here. You're watching Cubs 360.
We've been making cars for America for 25 years, building one of the best warranties anywhere, and capturing first place in initial quality for half a decade. We've never backed down from a challenge, and won't now. Introducing Kia's Accelerate the Good program, where we're pushing payments way down the road for new buyers, helping current owners keep the car they have, and providing other customer care programs. Because no one company or person can beat this thing, but together, we are unstoppable.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. Knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, and it feels like American muscle. Looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy, mow with an attitude.
This isn't forever. It's a moment in time. We may be isolated, but we're still connected. We navigate individually, but experience this together. We're Chicago. We know how to hunker down and push through. We'll come out stronger, more resilient. Look forward to the day we'll share these spaces once again. From us at Wintrust to all of you, hang in there. We'll see you on the other side.
Here's to the road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Right now, Toyota is offering 0% financing for 60 months on 8 of our most popular Toyotas, like Camry, RAV4, and Tacoma. You can even shop and buy online from the comfort of your home. Many Toyota service centers are open to help keep your vehicle in top shape and may even offer no-contact vehicle drop-off.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
Live women's tennis is back as the Tennis Channel Reopen Tour continues. It's the UTR Pro Match Series. Live coverage Friday through Sunday daily at 11 a.m. Don't miss this exciting live tennis action all weekend long on Marquee Sports Network.
And obviously the expectations by the Cubs fans, the Chicago media, heck, the national media have grown exponentially with each passing day. Crowd roaring for Mark Pryor even before the game gets underway. And Pryor knows that the media glare will be on him very quickly here in Chicago. The future is now for Mark Pryor. He takes the mound at Wrigley Field for the first time as a major league player. Standing ovation for Pryor, who strikes out 10 in his big league debut in Chicago.
Hey, we continue to roll here on Cubs 360, and it was 18 years ago to the day when Mark Pryor made his major league debut with the Cubs. Get this, he was filthy. He struck out 10 over 6 frames in the Cubs' 7-4 win over those Pittsburgh Pirates, but Pryor would never be the same again. Now back here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. The gang's all here. It's Bruce, it's Sean, it's Tony, and guys, we know that Mark Pryor went number 2 overall back in 2001. However, between 2002 to 07, well, he was deactivated 9 times. So, Sean, when you take a look at the draft process and what teams have learned or may have not learned since that time, do you think they now know to use those high draft picks on position players as opposed to pitchers?
I don't really know how the numbers make up. I don't know if a position player has a more sustained major league career versus a pitcher. I don't know how the numbers break down. But in my personal opinion, I played with a man named Greg Maddux in 2006. And we sat down right in the beginning of April when we looked at starting rotations and bullpen depth right in the beginning of the year. And Greg would say, this team is going to be good. This team won't be as good. This team will be as good. So my emphasis as a pitcher myself is on pitching. I think that good defense can neutralize good offense, and I think that good pitching wins championships. So if I was a GM and I had an emphasis to pick a few more established pitchers, I prefer college players versus high school players from a maturity standpoint. Yep. But I lean towards the pitching aspect and drafting these players early in the draft.
You know, it depends on your organization, your definition of how you want to get to championships. I mean, you look at the early level of the Cleveland Indians back in the 90s, and they had Jim Thome, and they had Bell, and they had all those great players like Lofton, everybody coming up that was drafted, and they signed them and kept them. And they went to World Series a couple times, almost won a championship, but they were a dominant team in the 90s. You look at the Chicago Cubs and how they were built in the mid 2015 and on. You look at what they did. You know, they went and they got Bryant. They went and they got Schwarber. They went and they got Happ. So they built on position players and signed all their pitchers and won a championship and were a dominant team that way. So it depends which way you want to roll. There's no right way or wrong way. But, you know, in the case of Pryor, Joe Mauer went before him. He had a great career. You couldn't be wrong with that pick. In the case of Bryant in 2013, he was the number 2 pick, the number 1 guy, you know, Mark Appel. He never made it. So, I mean, you have a lot of different ways to look at this. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. You have to go by your gut and what your scouts tell you and what your metrics department tells you going into that draft.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Bruce, it obviously worked out for the Cubs and the way Theo Epstein built this Cubs team. But I think it's all about risk versus reward. I mean, you can help win championships with multiple first-round picks year after year, but you can certainly lose championships as well and put yourself in a hole if you keep drafting guys that keep getting injured. And you never really know who's going to get injured. I mean, nobody thought Mark Pryor, with his polished mechanics coming out of college, was going to have the career he had where he got injured as much as he did. But I think just the fact that pitchers do get injured more than hitters, you're always one pitch away from a potential serious elbow or shoulder injury or anything else. There's more risk inherent in pitchers versus polished position players, especially guys coming out of college.
Yeah, well, Tony, I think with the way that we see the pitchers' pay scale escalating, they may continue to take those hurlers in the first few early rounds. We will see how things unfold. We will continue to stick and move right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, because when you talk about Mark Pryor, you can't forget his partner in crime, and you can't mention Pryor without talking about Kerry Wood, the former NL Rookie of the Year. He chats about his injury issues and historic career on off the mound. He's joining our guy Ryan Dempster, 8 o'clock Central Time, and former Cubs bench coach Alan Trammell. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to join Demp as well. You won't want to miss a single second. Now, still to come right here on Cubs 360, no one has hit 400 in close to 80 years. So could anyone do it in a shortened season this year in 2020? We'll give you our picks to click when Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, bounces back. Stay put.
Every weekday night, tune into the stadium.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to play as many games as possible as soon as possible.
If this 2020 Cubs team wants to get back to where they were at 2016, I think David Ross is going to be the right guy to lead them there.
There was something that we could do to help stop the spread.
Common Man is looking for 1 or 2 or 3 men. We decided to help the common man.
The Stadium, weeknights at 7 on Marquee Sports Network. Presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
At Classic Kia, buying is actually easier now, thanks to Penny Perfect. Just choose your Kia, click buy or lease, set your terms, then email or call to finish up. So, take advantage of offers you'll likely never see again. No payments for 120 days, up to $4,000 in customer cash, and 0% financing. Delivered with care, even to your home at no charge. Classic Kia, Lake County's favorite, Green Bay Road, Waukegan.
I'd kind of given up hope. I wasn't going to spend $12,000 on hair plugs. But I tried this, and it was great, and I've never looked back.
I brush my teeth in the morning. I had braces when I was a child. We take care of other parts of our body. You can take care of your hairline. It's okay.
I mean, I'm just grateful that the products work so well, that they're so convenient, and that I don't have to stress out about losing my hair anymore.
Don't wait until you lose more hair.
Go to forhims.com right now.
Weather's perfect. Family's all together.
And we switched to Geico, save money on our boat insurance?
How can it get any better than this?
Dad, I just caught a goldfish.
There's no goldfish in this lake.
Whoa.
It's pure gold. We're gonna be rich. We're gonna be rich!
It only gets better when you switch and save with Geico.
Where will you go first? Will it be familiar streets? Or perhaps unknown roads? Wherever you may go, Lexus will welcome you back with exceptional offers. Find a Lexus for every road at Lexus.com.
Get 0% financing and make no payments for up to 90 days on all 2020 Lexus models.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
You're watching Marquee Sports Network.
Hey, packing things up here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Bruce, Sean, and Tony back again. And guys, no player has hit 400 or better since Ted Williams back in 1941. We know he had a doubleheader, went 6 for 8 in that double dip, and the rest is history. 406 in the books. Now, in this shortened season this year in 2020, can anyone swing at that 400 clip? Tony, what do you say?
I don't know, but if a guy's going to do it, it's going to be a guy that puts the ball in play a ton, like Jeff McNeil from the Mets, a guy who doesn't strike out much, has the ability to get that BABIP luck on his side and maybe push the 400 mark.
I had a couple of guys came to mind. Even though he's a Brewer, Christian Yelich, he just seems to be improving every year. I mean, he was third in batting average in 18, second in batting average last year. On the American League side, a long-lost Cub, DJ LeMahieu was picked back in 09, and he's improved every year. So, I mean, he gets hits. These guys keep hitting and hitting. So in a shortened season, they start out hot. They got a chance.
You know, luck might have something to do with it, but in a shortened season, you might be able to do it just like Sean said. I picked nobody because nobody has even come close. The last guy to hit even 379 was Larry Walker in 1997. This last year, Tim Anderson, 336, led all of baseball. That's about 64 points short, knowing that my Chicago public school math is still pretty good. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So in a shortened season, you might have the luck of the draw, but I'm going with nobody on that one, Cole.
Yeah, Tim Anderson, 336 for the season. Cody Bellinger, he was 336 at the break. So I'm with you, Bruce. I don't think anyone is going to challenge that 400 mark, or even Tony Gwynn's 394 that we saw once upon a time. Now, make a note, because Cubs 360, the best of, it's coming your way Saturday at 10:30. That's something that you won't want to miss. So until then, for everybody at Marquee Sports Network, including Bruce, Sean, and Tony, I'm Cole Wright. Everybody out there, enjoy your holiday weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Hello and welcome to the stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. I'm Michael Kemp. Thanks for watching. Michael Jordan took the Bulls franchise to unprecedented heights and glory, earning greatest of all time recognition along the way. But the original Bull is, and always will be, Jerry Sloan, who died today at the age of 78. Born in McLeansboro, Illinois, Sloan was an all-state center in high school before heading to the University of Evansville. He was the 4th overall pick in the 1965 NBA draft by the Baltimore Bullets, but he made his name in the league after leading the expansion Bulls to the playoffs in the inaugural 1966-67 season. He was a 2-time All-Star and 4-time All-Defensive First-Team selection during his 10 seasons as a player. Sloan would also coach the Bulls for 3 seasons, but he earned his Hall of Fame honors for his excellence on the sidelines with the Utah Jazz, leading that team to 2 NBA Finals appearances in 1997 and 98, losing both times to the Bulls. In 2016, Sloan disclosed that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and dementia. Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf released this statement today. Jerry Sloan was the original Bull whose tenacious defense and nightly hustle on the court represented the franchise and epitomized the city of Chicago. Jerry was the face of the Bulls organization from its inception through the mid-1970s, and very appropriately, his number 4 was the first jersey retired by the team. A great player and a Hall of Fame NBA coach, most importantly, Jerry was a great person. Our sympathies go out to the Sloan family and all his many fans. When we last saw the Blackhawks, they were celebrating a 6-2 win over San Jose for their 5th win in 7 games and trying to stay in the race for a wild card spot. The following day, the NHL shut down the season. Today, the Hawks are positioned for their biggest win on a May 22nd since 1992, when Brian Noonan scored a pair of goals to eliminate the Edmonton Oilers, and the Blackhawks advanced to the Stanley Cup Final. Within hours, we could find out that the Hawks are in the playoffs. The Hawks' fate depends on the NHL Players Association's approval of a return-to-play proposal that features a 24-team postseason format. Under this proposal, the top 12 teams from each conference get in, and that means the 32-30-8 Blackhawks, who sit in last place in the Central Division, are headed to the playoffs. And guess who's waiting for them? Well, it's May 22nd, isn't it? So fittingly, it's the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers, as the 5th seed in the West, would square off against the 12th-seeded Hawks in a yet-to-be-determined site, as the current proposal is calling for groups of teams to play in hub cities. Now, the Blackhawks took 2 of their 3 regular season matchups, both wins coming with Corey Crawford in goal. Robin Leonard, who was traded to Vegas at the deadline, was between the pipes for the loss on February 11th. The winner of a Chicago-Edmonton series will face the 4th-seeded Dallas Stars, one of the 4 teams receiving a first-round bye. Now, similar to their hockey counterparts, Major League Baseball players are still trying to hammer out a deal with the owners to play a 2020 season. Before returning for practices and games, the Players Association wants answers to questions regarding health and safety provisions and protocols that are required to protect the players and their families. Yesterday, we caught up with former White Sox third baseman Tyler Saladino, who is now playing for the Samsung Lions in the Korean baseball organization. Here's his advice for major leaguers.
If you test and everybody knows that they've been proven negative, you eliminate all worries right there. And if everybody in the facility has proven that they're negative, you don't have to worry about people like, oh, should I stay away from him? Or, you're like on pins and needles. Oh, did he touch something? Do I need to go away from something he rubbed against that wall? It really shouldn't be like that.
We will have more on our conversation with Tyler Saladino and his adjustments to the KBO. That's coming up next week right here on The Stadium. As we told you yesterday, player health and safety considerations have led the NBA to discuss the possibility of sending teams and players to Disney World in Orlando to finish the 2020 season. Stadium NBA insider Shams Charania reports that league officials are also engaged in discussions with several national coronavirus testing providers, a central component to restarting the season.
Sources tell me the NBA has begun preparing its teams for an eventual league-wide coronavirus testing program in a step toward resuming the 2019-20 season. The NBA told its teams Thursday that it is in conversations with several national coronavirus testing providers. This is a step toward a regular testing protocol because, as Commissioner Adam Silver told players on a call this month, the league believes it needs a significant amount of testing if it is to complete the remainder of the season.
The Illini football team is scheduled to open the 2020 season at home against Illinois State in exactly 10 weeks. Lovie Smith hasn't had a chance to meet with his players in person for several months, but beginning June 3rd, the university is allowing the return of athletes for on-campus workouts on a staggered schedule, as announced today by Athletic Director Josh Whitman.
Obviously, we still don't know what the fall will look like in terms of return to in-person instruction, return to competition, whether you're talking about football or any of the rest of our fall sports. We anticipate those decisions coming in the next 4 to 6 weeks. But we also know that for most of our student athletes, this has been the longest interruption to their training that most of them have probably experienced perhaps since middle school. And we're cognizant of the fact that once we get the green light to resume competition, we want them to be in a place physically to minimize risk of injury and to be able to compete at the level that they expect.
So in the past couple of weeks, you have 7 FBS programs, all at the Group of 5 level, that have eliminated Olympic sports, and that has nothing to do with what happens with the football revenue.
That was our Stadium college football insider, Brett McMurphy, on how Olympic sports programs are feeling the brunt of the COVID-19 pandemic shutting down the sports world. We discussed these concerns further with recently retired Notre Dame women's basketball coach, Muffet McGraw.
You know, it's a difficult time. I think you see across the country, you see salaries are being cut. Budgets are being frozen. Nobody's allowed to hire anyone. I think we're taking a lot of steps that are so important. We need to be fiscally responsible. We need to understand that these times are different. It's very difficult for mid-majors, especially right now. They're losing positions on their staff. People are being furloughed. We've been fortunate here that we haven't had to do that yet, but depending on how long this goes on, I think sports could look completely different across the country.
Unfortunately, these changes have already taken place for the athletes and coaches involved with the programs you see listed on your screen. More programs are likely to get eliminated, especially if college football is unable to kick off a 2020 season. So sports fans, keep your fingers crossed. Straight ahead. One Michael accounts for 6 of the championships won by Chicago teams. We ask another Michael to rank where any one of them stands in comparison to the others won by the Bears, the Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox. Find out what Michael Wilbon tells us when he joins us next on The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
Get to know where to place your next bet on Follow the Money on Marquee Sports Network. Vegas veterans Mitch Ross and Paulie Howard host this hour-long show, share their knowledge of sports and gambling.
If they keep that together, who knows what happens with 99 and 2000. Maybe it's a 5-beat right then and there.
Get the most up-to-date information in live odds, predictions, and betting trends from the sports gambling capital of the world. Follow the Money, live weekday mornings at 6 on Marquee Sports Network.
The Stadium is proudly presented by UI Health. Thank you to our heroes on the front line, and thank you, Chicago, for doing your part and staying home. We will get through this together. Proud partners with UI Health, changing medicine for good.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
We're all missing those special moments when baseball brings us together.
For now, let the memories of the good times help you through.
Thank you to those who are working on the front lines and to those keeping everyone going on the home front.
Thank you, Chicago, for staying safe at home.
We will have more of those memorable moments soon enough.
Let Marquee Sports Network deliver fresh baseball news and analysis to you with Cubs 360 Daily. Though baseball may be on pause, we're pulling together the most knowledgeable voices coming to you daily from their home to yours.
I hope David Ross and the Cubs are able to sort of reestablish what they had in 16 and whatever was lost incrementally in 17, 18, and 19.
Cubs 360 Daily, fresh each weeknight at 7:30 on Marquee Sports Network. Proudly presented by Miller Lite.
Welcome back to the stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. No matter where our next guest is, he always takes a little piece of Chicago with him. Today, it is nice to welcome back home, at least just for a few moments. And you know that face, you know that name. He is the co-host of PTI on ESPN, and can we call him former Chicago resident? Michael Wilbon joining us right now here on the stadium. How are you, Michael?
I'm good, Michael. You cannot call me former because I got a place in Streeterville, even though I haven't been there in about 3 months now. I'm not former. I'm still current.
Okay, a correction. And current Chicago resident Michael Wilbon joining us here.
Though
on
not
the
today.
show.
I got the Arizona sunshine. I'm staying away from you guys for a while.
Hey, man, I'm jealous. It looks gorgeous out there because I know it's like there in Scottsdale. All right, so let's talk about something that you experienced in real time 22 years ago, and the rest of us are watching it on The Last Dance. All these years later, and especially after watching the documentary series, what sticks with you about that season, about that time?
Well, Michael, it starts with just how great that team was. That's the set of teams. I mean, it's not just The Last Dance. It's all the teams from 91, the first three-peat. You've got 18 months with Jordan away, and then he comes back, the second three-peat, and it's all of a piece. It's his will and what his power of personality, in addition to the talent and dedication, and his ability to draw the best, or sometimes pull the best, they might say, out of his teammates. But Jordan's will, his willfulness, I think jumps out. It jumps out of the documentary off the screen to you because you're hearing Michael tell his story. You're getting to see how charismatic he is and how he was able to get those guys. And this is so important in basketball, more important than any other sport, because a single player is so disproportionately impactful in basketball. Jordan's ability to get everyone to do what he felt they needed to do. And that's what strikes you all these years later. It doesn't change. As a matter of fact, because basketball is such a different sport now, it really jumps out at you and you see what the sport was like, what he was like 20 plus years ago.
You know, that's interesting that you brought up that aspect, especially of Michael and his greatness, because as you know, we've discussed, we both have sons named Matthew, and they are learning about that era for the first time, watching it through The Last Dance. What has been the biggest takeaway for your Matthew from this series?
Well, we haven't had sort of sit down and discuss big picture. We haven't had that yet. We're going to have it probably tonight, but I think I can see his face react to how hard people were coached then, whether it was Phil Jackson in timeouts, whether it was Michael in timeouts, whether it was, he got the sense of Michael and Scotty, sort of collaborating. I'm sorry, Michael and Steve Kerr collaborating on a last shot at the end of a game in the finals to beat Utah. And that was something that was more like he's accustomed to, but it's like, these guys are loud, they're tough, they're yelling at each other. People were coached hard. They were coached harder than, NBA players are looking at this now, I know, going, wow. And they probably don't like what they see because they don't want their sport to be like that anymore. So at 12 years old, Michael, I know your son's a little older. I think that's one of the takeaways for my son. And another one is I think he sees just how great Jordan is. He's grown up in the era of LeBron and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, and he sees how great those players are. And now he sees full throttle Michael Jordan. And like I said, we haven't had the debriefing conversation yet. We're going to have that later. But a lot of it, I just wanted to look at his reaction in live time and assess it, which is why I did not watch the doc in advance. I didn't binge watch. I watched each episode as it played out in real time with him. And so
same with me.
From 10 years old, you know how it was then. From 10 years old to 30, how are two generations of young athletes, and they're all young, whether they're 10 or 25, how are they processing this? What is it they're taking away from getting up close to Michael Jordan in a way that none of us ever have been in terms of just sort of the mass audience until now, because it's Michael's first time explaining himself publicly in this way.
You know, it's interesting, Michael, because my Matthew, he's 16, and he was seeing Tony Kukoc and hearing about him, and it drove him to go look at some YouTube videos because he didn't know who Tony Kukoc was, and he asked me, why wasn't he more revered? He's thinking a 6'10 guy who could dribble, who could shoot, who was so athletic and graceful in so many ways, and I just said, look, on a different team at a different time, he might be the #1 overall pick coming out of the draft this year if he were coming over from Croatia now. But back then with that team, you know, he was a guy who was a role player. And it's pretty remarkable how much he saw that, and as well as how much the game has changed. And he would certainly be one of those guys who you would think today would be a star. And speaking of that.
And you know, the game changing, Michael, you mentioned that. Matthew can't understand why the Pistons weren't called for about 11 flagrant fouls on each possession back in 89 and 90. And I'm like, dude, the game's not called that way. And he's looking at how the ball is dumped inside. And it may come out to Kerr or Kukoc for a three, but more than likely Michael was going to work his mid-game magic. The game is so radically different now. Again, you don't have to be 12 or 16. If you are 25 years old, the basketball you've played in college or the NBA is radically different then than now.
How do you reconcile all these years later as a Chicagoan, as a basketball fan, as a journalist, a team pulling the plug on its own dynasty when they had already arguably the greatest coach and greatest player of all time right there already in place?
You can't reconcile it, Michael. You can't. Because the team should have gone on. The team should have played on, at least to me, one more year. I certainly subscribe to the notion in basketball, which is, let's face it, every sport has its own culture. In the culture of basketball, you play till somebody beats you. You learn that when you're 8 and 9 years old. Our kids learned that, years ago. You play until somebody beats you. And Michael Jordan believes in that. Absolutely. And so if people think that he wanted to go out with some storybook ending after 6, and he wanted to walk away like John Elway walked away. No, he didn't. And it still aggravates him. And you saw that at the end of the doc when he just says, I can't accept that, because he can't. And so he doesn't reconcile it. And it's the person who watches sport and has watched basketball and sort of came of age with those Bulls teams. There's no reconciling it. I know look, everything costs money. And we hear Jerry Reinsdorf when Michael takes that tablet. And Jerry says it would have been difficult or impossible to keep all those guys at market value. That speaks to an agenda, it speaks to an agenda that perhaps that Jerry Reinsdorf and his partners did not want to do that. And Krause might have been operating under that, not just presumption, but that edict, Jerry Krause, the general manager, the controversial general manager, that he needed to retool, that he needed to let Scotty go and get paid somewhere else and try to trade for a young guy in the second year like Tracy McGrady, who would have been making, his rookie wage. Because Jordan, let's face it, was not going to take a cut he shouldn't have. He already took a cut when he came back in 1995, 96 and played for $3 million. So I can't reconcile it. The team should not have been broken up when it was, and it's a shame that it was.
If you had to power rank the top 3 championships of your lifetime there involving Chicago teams, which teams go 1, 2, and 3?
Well, if we're talking about relative to the league, relative to the competition at the time, the 85 Bears, they're arguably the greatest team of all time. And if anybody says to me the Dolphins, I just go, I grant you that. I'm going to grant you the 72 undefeated Dolphins. But still, the Bears didn't even have close games. The Dolphins had a lot of them. I have to consider the Bulls, all 6 championships as one. The Bulls were more overwhelming. I mean, the Bulls were a greater global cultural phenomenon. They're one in that sense. They have the greatest star in Michael. They're one in that sense. In terms of dominating opponents to the point of embarrassing them, that's the 85 Bears. In terms of the delight that one team, just one, brought Chicago, I'm going to go with the Cubs. The Bears had a hold on Chicago too, but I don't know that anybody was taking the transistor radio and newspaper clips to the grave to read to their deceased relatives. So 2016, man, that Cubs team brought, I think, more joy, just joy, unbridled joy, because it was such a relief to finally get there. For a kid who grew up with no championships almost, I was 5 when the Bears won in '63.
Yeah.
For a kid who grew up with no championships to be able to compare the Bears, the Blackhawks, and the White Sox in 2005, that didn't grab the city in quite the same way. It almost came as a surprise ending that, of course, made a lot of people happy. But I'm going to rank him the way I did and not give short shrift to the 2005 White Sox, especially for a kid. While I'm a Cub fan, I'm also a Southsider, proud Southsider.
Yes, you are. Every reason to be. Hey, Michael, thanks so much for taking the time out. Enjoy the sun and the beautiful weather out there in Arizona. And we'll see you soon on the streets of Streeterville in Chicago here, as you are, again, a current Chicago resident. Appreciate the time, Michael.
When it gets warmer, Michael, see you soon.
Still ahead. We all remember how injuries changed the trajectory of Mark Pryor's career, but today we look back fondly on the promise he showed 18 years ago to the day. That's next on The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. The Stadium is proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
Motorcycle riders love the open road, and Geico loves helping riders get to where they're going. So to help even more, Geico is giving new and current customers a 15% credit on their motorcycle policies with the Geico Give Back. And because we're committed for the long haul, the credit lasts your full policy term. The Geico Give Back, helping riders focus on the road ahead.
Now is the time to remember that picking each other up is what we all do best. Being a good friend, a good neighbor, a good partner. That's why Enterprise remains open. We're committed to helping essential workers and frontline responders help us all move forward. Because while the distance between us has gotten bigger, the one way we'll get through it is together.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. Knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, and it feels like American muscle, looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy, mow with an attitude.
Here's to the road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Right now, Toyota is offering 0% financing for 60 months on a new 2020 RAV4. Or you can lease a new RAV4 for $229 a month. You can even shop and buy online from the comfort of your home. Many Toyota service centers are open to help keep your vehicle in top shape and may even offer no-contact vehicle drop-off.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
Live women's tennis is back as the Tennis Channel Reopen Tour continues. It's the UTR Pro Match Series. Live coverage Friday through Sunday daily at 11 a.m. Don't miss this exciting live tennis action all weekend long on Marquee Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. Marquee Sports Network and MLB The Show 20 are bringing the virtual America's pastime to you in our time of need. Join the watch party over on Facebook every game day at 1 p.m. And don't forget to catch Cubs 360 daily, Monday through Friday at 7:30 p.m. Here's Cole Wright with more on today's show.
Hey, coming up right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. How could Michael Jordan have changed baseball? J.A. Adande, he stops by. He lets us know. And this season, should Major League Baseball have limited fans in attendance? That and much, much more coming your way on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, weeknights right here on Marquee Sports Network.
104 pitches for Mark Pryor in his Major League debut. The glad hand all around. Boy, what an exciting future lies in store for that young man.
May 22nd, 2002. Mark Pryor goes 6 innings, strikes out 10 Pirates in his major league debut, and picks up his first career win. Unfortunately, as you know the story, injuries derailed his career and he would only win 41 more games. He threw his last big league pitch in August of 2006. Marquee Sports Network is shining a spotlight on hometown heroes, members of the community who are stepping up to help during the COVID-19 pandemic. To nominate someone, head to marqueesportsnetwork.com/heroes. And a reminder that you can always catch us at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday right here on the Marquee Sports Network. Thank you so much for watching this edition of The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. Have a happy and safe holiday weekend, and we will see you again on Monday.
We've been making cars for America for 25 years, building one of the best warranties anywhere, and capturing first place in initial quality for half a decade. We've never backed down from a challenge, and won't now. Introducing Kia's Accelerate the Good program, where we're pushing payments way down the road for new buyers, helping current owners keep the car they have, and providing other customer care programs. Because no one company or person can beat this thing, but together, we are unstoppable.
It's our biggest sale of the year. For a limited time, get up to $400 off a mattress and sleep bundle and sleep great on the one, the only, the Purple Grid. Only the Grid is instantly soft where you want it, firm where you need it, and keeps you comfortably cool all night with over 1,800 air channels, all at once. You deserve a durable mattress that feels like it was designed specifically for your body. So visit purple.com to take advantage of our biggest sale yet. Only Purple.
Kick off the summer in style at Darvin's Memorial Day sale. Save big with 55% off everything in our showroom, an extra 10% off famous manufacturers, a $55 instant discount, and no interest financing for 55 months. Plus, you'll enjoy the same great savings whether you make an appointment to visit our Orland Park showroom or shop online at Darvin.com. The Memorial Day sale on now at Darvin Furniture and Mattress.
Where will you go first? Will it be familiar streets? Or perhaps unknown roads? Wherever you may go, Lexus will welcome you back with exceptional offers. Find a Lexus for every road at Lexus.com.
Get 0% financing and make no payments for up to 90 days on all 2020 Lexus models.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.